How do you make light of a puncture wound nearly to your colon? You say simple things like, well, you tickled your cecum.
What compliment are you most proud of?
Do you feel like discipline sparks passion, or does passion spark discipline?
Chill, bro.
I'll take that advice.
That's what the kids say.
Right now. Chill, bro. This is the first time with a clapper, and you can tell because of the way that it is. I just wanted to take a moment to shout out to my teammate on the Stiefel US ski team, Paula Moulton, for her continued strength on the mountain, for her 4th place result in Levy after a huge second run comeback. When this episode goes live, we'll be heading into the Copper Stiefel World Cup weekend with 3 races already behind us: Solden GS, Levy Slalom, and Gurgle Slalom. And it's been so cool and encouraging to see the depth of our Stiefel US ski team women and what they're showcasing consistently. And a large part of the success is thanks to Stiefel's ongoing support, which allows us to focus on what we do on the mountain. So thank you, Stiefel, where success meets success.
It's so satisfying.
I am excited for today because I'm going to introduce you to, you've seen her before. You've heard her cheer for me at every single start. An individual on my team who has had such a pivotal role in my career in so many ways. Not only my physical therapist, but I actually grew up with her in New Hampshire, and I am proud to call her my friend. While her priority as my PT is centered around injury prevention and management, she also guides high performance strategy. She collaborates extensively with the Stiefel US ski team staff to optimize my workload, recovery, mental readiness. Regan has worked in private practice. She worked for TB12 for a number of years, which is a company that Tom Brady had started a few years back, and gained an incredible amount of experience from your time there. Enjoyed working as a clinical instructor. There's just a whole great list of things that you've already accomplished in your career. You are also an advisor on the UVM Women in Leadership program. So, Regan, welcome to What's the Point?
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. You didn't have a choice. Let's just shake out any...
Warm up.
Let's just warm up.
Yeah.
Let's just warm up because we don't do enough of that. This is hour 2 of warm up this morning, and it is only 7:30. With the Faster.Always rapid fire.
All right.
Brought to you by Atomic. What is your first memory on skis?
First memory. Skiing at Whaleback.
Totally. Whaleback. Oh my gosh. It's such a throwback for me.
It's such a throwback. And pretty much once I learned how to ski, I remember we couldn't get the bar down, but we would just like get the lifties to throw it down.
Yeah.
And we'd be on our own all day.
All day.
Like in the woods, on the backside.
Yeah.
You learned a lot from that.
What is the greatest lesson that you've learned in your professional career, or like advice that you might give to your younger self?
I think the short version is chill a little bit. I think I've always been a planner, and I think that's gotten me to the level that I've gotten to. But I think I maybe at times sort of sacrificed how awesome some of the experiences were, worrying about what I needed to do next, or worrying about the future, or if things were perfect, or how I could make them better. But I think the reality is we have these awesome experiences, and things are going to unfold the way they want to unfold. So I think if I could tell my high school self or my college self one thing, it would be soak it up and enjoy it.
Like take each moment as it comes.
Yeah. Like do the things in front of you to the best of your abilities, and that's going to open up the next step. Like you don't have to worry about the next step.
I'll take that
Chill,
advice.
bro.
I'll take that advice.
That's what the kids say.
Right now. Chill, bro. Who would you like to sit with on a 2-person chairlift? What one person?
Personally, I like the single chair at Mad River.
Just kidding. Wait, do they have a single chair?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I've never been on a single chair.
It's pretty cool.
Wait, that sounds like a dream.
No, actually, I'm not going to pick one person. I want a gondola. Is that allowed?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Copy that.
Okay, I think I would want my grandmother. She is definitely who I got my energy from. She is, I think, where I got a lot of my athleticism from. She played basketball in college in the 1940s. Yeah. So she was sort of on like the very front edge of women's sports. And I think it would be so cool for her to see like where sports have developed and where women's sports are at now. Herb Brooks.
Oh, girl.
Everyone that knows me knows my favorite movie is Miracle.
Yeah.
And because I love looking at complex groups and systems, Adam Grant. You got to throw him in there.
Yeah. All right.
One gondola ride.
Adam, the most likely one to make it.
Yeah. We'll see. Maybe someday.
We can make that happen. I'll be on the next gondola. It's okay. I'll just follow.
Perfect.
I'll meet you at the top. Biggest pet peeve.
Oh, being late. Mikaela used to be 8 minutes late regularly.
And it was exactly 8 minutes.
Which taught me to be 7 minutes late.
And so now when I'm on time,
Then we have an issue.
skiing out west or out east?
Oh, that's so hard. I think the East is where I got a lot of my grit. I don't think I was ever warm skiing growing up. But the idea of being dry and warm and not having to tune my skis every single time we went out is pretty intriguing. I think the West might be my future.
I see the West in my future. We're expanding. So true. Not really warm or dry in the East. No. Favorite sport outside of skiing?
I've been loving mountain biking and learning how to surf as an adult. I think they're so different from the team sports that I grew up in, and there's so much feel and kind of mental challenge.
Yeah.
That's been a fun new adventure.
If you were an animal, what would you be?
Okay, I've actually thought about this a lot lately because Max recently called me a deer because I'm apparently twitchy. So I don't really see myself as a deer. I think I actually see myself more as a squirrel because I'm often just like running around with a whole lot of energy, kind of preparing for things.
Yes.
Sort of on high alert all the time.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is a bad thing for a medical provider.
No. You are agile.
What's your spirit animal?
I still believe it's a sloth.
Love that.
Just like so very much not squirrel.
That's why we get along.
I need more squirrel in my life to be able to perform. Or I need
a little more sloth in my life. So we're good.
It's all right. It's we've completed the circle. Let's dive into the actual questions. But we can start with a fun one. What is your most memorable race or one of your most memorable moments from the circuit? And yeah, I mean, it can stand out. Something stands out. It was challenging, unexpected, or like perfectly chaotic.
Yeah. I think I'd have to go with Solden 3 days ago.
This year.
Yeah. Oh. And I'm not just saying that because it's 3 days ago. I think looking at where we left off last year with GS and the challenges you really had to overcome throughout the summer, heading into the race, I think there was potential for you to really get stressed about making the second run, making sure you finished, making sure you got the points that you needed to set yourself up for the season, making sure that you're preparing to qualify for the Olympics. Like there's so many big things that I think you could have gotten hung up on. But I think you went into this race committed to your process. You trusted your preparation from the summer, and the whole day kind of felt effortless.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a normal feeling for race day. I think a lot of times,
especially not the first,
definitely not the first race of the season.
Like last year.
Yeah.
The complete opposite feeling of like being kind of out of control, not having clarity, just like one step off kilter.
Yeah. Like the whole day, it just felt like our timing was on. Like you got on the gondola, you were joking around. We were cracking like sarcastic comments back at each other.
Yeah.
We got to the start with the perfect amount of time. One of the camera guys had a big boom that you like squished.
It was like a big fluffy audio boom. And when you see those, you have to squish
But
it.
like to me, that was like, okay, she's present. She knows what's going on. She's letting it kind of flow through her. You're soaking up the experience, and you kind of put one foot in front of the other every hour. And I think I'd love to know what you thought, but from my perspective, I think you realized that if you did that, the results would come.
Yeah.
And they did.
I've also noted, do you remember like previous years where we've sort of said, oh, it almost doesn't really feel like race day?
Mm-hmm.
Or we had a year where Solden was canceled and it was a relief.
Yeah.
I feel like because of last season, I've actually been so kind of nervous and anxious about this race in particular.
Yeah.
And I've been talking about it in psychology, like doing brain training, all of these. It's been centered a lot around Solden.
Yeah.
Being a very nerve-wracking day and always feeling a little off kilter. I think because we've talked about it so much and I've talked with you about it so much that when the day finally came, it was like, I have literally prepared to be in this moment of like nervous stress and still handle it with clarity and grace and proper timing.
Yeah.
Like we've been kind of on that journey together.
Yeah.
Also with the whole team.
Absolutely. And I think it just shows that if you do expose yourself to that and you do talk about that, you can kind of then actually be present when the moment comes. And I think on top of sort of that performance, I think the collaboration with the rest of the team also made the day really special. The moment Nina gave you that course report, that was really cool.
Yeah. She
gave an excellent report, and just watching your body, like the tension just kind of released. You're like, yeah, I can do this.
Yeah.
And then when you got down and Paula came down after you and had such a successful day, I think you did a really good job being proud of your progress, but also supporting and really genuinely celebrating her success.
Yeah.
And I think that's a hard thing to do in sports. And I think when we think of you being a role model for younger athletes, that's exactly what they need to see.
Yeah. I do think our team this year has a really incredible combination of individuality and connection and support of each other. And that is one of the hardest, we talk about it all the time. It's one of the hardest balances to strike in ski racing because it is very much an individual sport that is competed individually, but practiced as a team and supported as a team.
Yeah.
And you have to find that balance between being your own person, self-advocacy, and being 100% all in with your team and supportive of their success.
Yep.
And that can often mean supportive of their success in front of your own.
Yeah.
So you have different definitions of success. And like you have to be able to be proud of yourself for what you gave that day.
Yeah.
And watch the incredible performances of your teammates and be like, oh my God.
Yeah. And I think you said it exactly. It's knowing what your goals are, what your process is, being okay with that and sort of who you are in this environment so that when anything else around you happens, you're able to match your energy to that.
Yeah.
And be excited for them.
So true.
So
it's so true. It was a really cool day.
Such a cool day. I think I still am energized by seeing the reels from it.
I know. It's it was really cool. So you've mentioned that your treatment philosophy has evolved quite a bit over the years. Can you talk about how that has evolved, how it's changed, and especially in terms of balancing movement and recovery and performance all wrapped into one package?
Yeah, for sure. Well, you're getting older. So you're certainly keeping me on my toes.
Truth.
No, I'm joking. But
if it's not my back, it's my neck or my ankle.
I think the simple version is I think when I first started with you, it was pretty reactive. And I think now we've sort of moved into more of a proactive management strategy. Those first couple years, I think I had been in the clinic and I had a strength and conditioning background and sort of an exercise science background. And I think basically I let you do whatever you wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And if something flared up, then we treated it as if you were sort of in the clinic. It was dealing with the pathomechanics that might have led to it. It was loading you back up, making you stronger, and sort of this idea of like, let's build the tissue capacity. But you get to the middle of the season and you realize, okay, we've had tons of load on the hill. I can't just keep loading you all afternoon because you're just going to keep
responding to symptoms.
Right. You're just going to get stiffer and stiffer. And then all of a sudden we're reactive and it sort of feels like we're a little bit out of control. Mm-hmm. So I think in those 2 years during COVID, when I went back to the clinic, I kind of took everything I knew from here and sort of forced myself to keep thinking about different ways that we could sort of stay ahead of it. And one of the things that really resonated with me at one point was we have all these return to run programs and return to field programs to sort of build up tissue adaptation. Yeah. And I always wondered, like, why are we letting the mountains essentially dictate our loading by whatever lane time we get? Yeah. And I really feel passionate that we need to kind of be ahead of that. Yeah. So one of the things is working with the coaches quite a bit on kind of load monitoring, on snow programming, so that we're creating a scenario where we stimulate your tissues and then we come down a little bit so you have time to actually adapt. Then we stimulate them again. So we're avoiding those camps where we just go so hard and aggravate everything. Yeah. I think we've also started to look at different areas in your entire program, media included, that stress your central nervous system. And I think I've started to really think about how treatment in the afternoon might be an area where we can bring your central nervous system back down. We've included a lot more breathing. We've included a lot more DNS, like rolling, patterning.
Can you just explain? Can you say what DNS stands for?
Yeah, it's dynamic neuromuscular stabilization. So it basically uses primitive patterning that babies go through to help you coordinate how to move through your core and your hips and your shoulders a little bit more efficiently.
And we found that to be a pretty essential piece to basically greater stability in my back.
Yep.
And like, as I do get older and my discs take more load.
Yeah. And one of the things I think it's extremely helpful with is you have a history of these injuries, and we know that the body goes into these protective mechanisms after injury. Different muscles might be grabbing, they might be firing, and these specific positions kind of put you at different limits where we can actually break down that protective patterning. Yep. So that we can actually get into you breathing properly, or you recruiting the proper deep muscles and not just relying on your hip flexors for everything.
Right.
So that's been really helpful. Belly breathing patterns, again, calming you down. And then the biggest thing has been actually shifting the majority of our manual therapy to the mornings.
Yeah.
And the idea behind that really comes from the time at TB12.
Yep.
And the idea there is basically, can we get your tissues as long and soft as possible before you go out and do your sport? So that if you hit a bump or something unexpected, you're essentially able to take that force and distribute it through your whole body. Yep. You're not getting so stiff that force hits you
and hits
then
the stiff spot.
Something breaks down. Yeah. And just to point out with the manual stuff, it's really not that passive. Like, you're moving through most of that session, and we're kind of putting you in different sport specific positions, and we're getting your brain to connect to the muscles so that you can fire as quickly as possible. You can make changes as quickly as possible. Yeah. And really, we're trying to make you as athletic and efficient as possible.
Yeah. One really cool example I felt of what you're talking about, and also with breathing patterns and sort of looking at the body as a whole, and even like being a little bit more proactive, was at the start of this block here in Austria prior to the first race. We had a particularly bumpy training day, and it's not really something that I think about whether I'm holding my breath or not during skiing, usually I'm breathing, but on bumpy courses, sometimes you feel like you're stabilizing by holding your breath. So getting off the hill that day, I felt really, really locked up, like mid-thoracic area. And when we were treating it, I was like, it's so stiff. And it's like I don't know why. It's like central and stiff, and I don't really know why. It just came on today. And you really related it to like using my diaphragm, or you might be able to explain this better, but like improperly breathing or not breathing and tightening up the diaphragm muscle.
Yep. And
that's actually where that back tightness was coming from, which I think was a really unique, not really a diagnosis, but like an observation of where this could be coming from. And let's also treat that. Let's not just like do mobs on your spine.
Right. And I think that really comes down to, I had an awesome foundation. I think it's knowing your anatomy. It's being really intentional about what strategies you're using and what you're actually trying to get at to make the tissue change. Yeah. Mobs are great, but it's also considering, okay, what other muscles cross this path that may be contributing to the pain. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about success and what that means.
But first, a word for our partner, the Cher Winter Foundation.
I know firsthand that no athlete gets here alone. Champions don't rise without support, coaches and teammates, and a whole community behind them. That's why I'm so proud to support Cher Winter Foundation. They're giving thousands of kids the chance to click into skis or strap on a snowboard for the first time ever. For these kids, it's not about medals. It's about confidence and belonging and a joy for being in the snow. Every athlete has people in their corner, and every kid should too. Learn more at sharewinterfoundation.org/MickGives. You have experience working in both a clinical and a high performance world. So what parallels do you see between clinical excellence and excellence in sport? And do you see like any shared habits or mindsets that define success in either or both?
First, I think you have to decide sort of what your definition of success is. And I think in both of those environments, I think communication is the foundation of all of it. I think from a clinical lens, you kind of need to figure out why the person is there, what they want to get out of the experience, what they believe is actually going to help them. Mm-hmm. Because it doesn't really matter how many tools I have or how many skills I have. If they don't feel like I understand them and what their actual goals are, they're not really going to buy into what I'm trying to give them. Mm-hmm. So I think it's initially sort of figuring out what motivates them and where they want to go. And then I think it's really setting expectations for how you think it's going to unfold. And then once you set those expectations, I think it's sharing that with all of the different stakeholders. Yep. It's talking to the doctor that maybe referred them. It's talking to the coach. It's talking to the parents. And it's making them feel like they have somebody quarterbacking them and somebody's sort of advocating for them. Mm-hmm. And that they're in an environment that they belong, that they sort of feel like they can maybe push their limits and fail. And we're going to be there to sort of pick them up and point them in the right direction. Yeah. And I think the same kind of applies to this world. Yeah. I think we need to know clearly what your priorities are. But then there's all of us around you that have our own priorities for what we think you need. Right. And we all have kind of this specialty knowledge. Like I'm sort of fighting for your recovery and your movement performance. And Karen and PK and Yama are fighting for the best skill setup and the reps and the best surface. And Lucas and Robbie sort of like they need a very specific setup to test skis. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, we all need to be pulling in the same direction. But if those communication pathways aren't there, then it can feel a little bit chaotic. So I think communication is sort of what aligns the group and builds the group trust so that you can make these harder decisions.
That the concept of trust is so interesting because it takes time to build trust.
Yeah.
But do you have advice or thoughts for PTs who might, I think it applies in sports and in clinic as well. But in sports, you're sort of taking time to build trust in an athlete.
Yep.
In clinic, I imagine you see some patients once, twice, three times, and maybe not again. And sometimes you'll have recurring patients too.
Yeah.
Do you have a simple step process for how to build trust in a patient or an athlete?
For me, I think it's being as real as I possibly can. I think it's reading sort of the nonverbal communication. That's something that I've always been pretty good at, and kind of matching my energy level to what's in front of me. And then I think, sort of if I can be a little bit vulnerable and sort of share who I am, you start to break down some of those barriers. And then I think the advocacy part is a big piece of it.
Yeah.
And having the confidence to say, like, if I don't know, I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's honest, but I'm going to figure it out. And I'm going to go through these channels to figure it out. And by the time they come back in, here's all of the research I've done. Here are the people I've talked to. Here's the time that I've put into your project.
Yeah.
But I think and when I was in the clinic, we saw people on the 45, and it was sort of making that person feel like the most important part of my day.
Yeah.
For those 45 minutes.
Which is a lot.
It is a lot, but it's also so rewarding.
Yeah.
And I think when you make that genuine connection, like, it gives you energy, and it gives you energy to want to problem solve for them.
Mm-hmm. One thing that I notice that's incredible with you, any PT that I've worked with that I've really enjoyed working with or felt like that sort of trust barrier was broken right away or pretty quick, was your ability to explain what's actually happening in the body in a way that a person who doesn't have the background or education, for instance, myself, can understand. Like the patterns, the way the body moves, cellular healing timelines. So this isn't really a question. It's more just feedback and also information for anyone listening. If you are a PT out there and you're wondering how to kind of build these trust moments, these kind of break that barrier. For me personally, and for a lot of athletes, I think understanding what the actual mechanism, what's going on in the body.
Yeah.
And why that could be leading to this pain, this discomfort, this stiffness.
Yeah.
And it's not just, it doesn't have to be just injury. It can be as simple as, for instance, you explaining, if you're holding your breath, your diaphragm's taking on all of that tightness and stiffness. And that's completely like loading this exact area of your spine.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're going to work on your breathing a little extra today.
Yep.
And like, that made so much sense to me.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That is something I have worked a lot on. And I've had some really good mentors who are phenomenal at that. I do think it's like anything, it's taking the time to come down to the why. Yeah. Like, why are we doing what we're doing? Why do I think this is going to take 6 to 8 weeks? And sort of trying to highlight the reasoning behind the thought process. Yeah. And I think that is what drives a lot of the buy-in.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's also being really intentional. I think I remember my first year during the residency, I was sharing a patient with my boss at the time. And I was like, oh yeah, her hips are tight. And he was like, well, what do you mean? What do you mean tight? And I was like, they're tight. And he was like, well, is it the capsule? Is it stiffness? Is it nerve related? Is it muscle related? Like, what structure are you actually working with?
Yeah.
And that's something that's really stuck with me, especially managing your back, is what structure are we actually working with? Because depending on what it is, that's going to change how aggressive I might be with the coaches on, like, we need to shut this down now. Mm-hmm. Or, okay, it's just muscle. It's just DOMs. We can get through maybe 1 or 2 more runs and then we got to be done.
How much of your ability to sort of determine structure, or it's kind of a diagnostic ability, really.
Yeah.
How much of that is dependent on the patient or on me communicating? We talk a lot about different kinds of stiffness.
Yeah. I think that took a long time. Like, you and I had to develop our own language. a lot of it is understanding sort of clinical patterning of different injuries. It's understanding how different tissues tend to respond. It's knowing your anatomy super well. But I think I was pretty hard on you at one point of like, okay, what does the tightness mean? Is it central to the spine? Is it radiating? Does it feel like, does it get better with compression or does it get worse with compression? And it's kind of putting you in all these different positions to really figure out kind of how it gets irritated and how we can maybe offload it and make it feel better. And be really intentional about what structure it actually is.
You have been part of some of my most competitive seasons. From your perspective, what do you think made these seasons so successful? And were there like patterns or consistent factors that you noticed that really made a difference?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Your consistency and your precision and kind of your willingness to stick to your process is sort of the first thing that comes to mind. But I think in the times that you were doing incredibly well, I think everything around you was very simple.
Yeah.
I think all of...
Simple doesn't mean easy.
Not easy, but the distractions were limited.
Yeah.
And that's everything down from where to park, how long it's going to take to get there, to minimizing any extra load mentally or physically. I remember, you know what I'm going to say.
The backpack.
That first year that I worked with you, everybody was like, Regan, you have to grab Mikaela's backpack. You have to grab her backpack. And here I am like, I'm not carrying her backpack. She's an elite athlete.
Take your own damn backpack.
I still see you sometimes as like my little sister's best friend. And I'm like, she can carry her own backpack. What is this? And now I get it. It's, if we can take that off of your plate and it saves your legs another half a mile walking to the car where you're not loading and you're not adding stress to your body, I'm okay with that.
Well, and even now it's like Lucas or Robbie will offer to take my backpack down from the hill so that I can practice my ski turns, which is something that we had to build into. You know, it took basically asking, can someone take this for me so I can actually ski and not just transport luggage from training to the car.
Right. Like it's being intentional with that time that you have and making the most of it. I also think about the creativity that you've sort of exhibited throughout your career. I think your mom in particular is really good at thinking outside of the box.
Yeah.
Back to the other question, I think the best PTs that I know are very creative and willing to kind of think outside of the box.
Yeah.
And I think just kind of that trust and sort of taking a risk to say, okay, I know the gates are over there, but what I need right now are drills.
Yeah.
And some creative drills. And we're going to compare it to golf and tennis and sort of these other sports.
Yep.
I think that creativity has continued to sort of give you that edge over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I also think laughter.
Yeah.
That year, I mean, you've had multiple years with different phases of success, but I think when things are going well, I just have awesome memories of the dinner table where like I can't even breathe. Yeah. You're cracking jokes, the group, everybody's sort of cracking jokes. And I think that willingness to just be silly and sort of let the daily tension go actually stacks up throughout the season to make it much more sustainable.
Yeah. I totally agree.
The humor is really important.
Yeah.
And you're funny most of the time.
Thank you. All
You're
I
welcome.
want in life is to be funny. Okay, so on the flip side, you've also been through some of my most challenging seasons, injuries, some of the hardest parts of my career, my dad passing away.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about that specifically, but
Yeah.
during these challenging moments, what have those tougher stretches been like for you? What have they taught you about resilience and recovery and team dynamics?
Yeah. that's a really good question. We don't have to talk about your dad passing away for too long, but I think that really rattled me. And I also kind of had to process it in a certain way. And I think I remember telling you when I was going to step back, like, I am not in a place to provide my best self to you right now.
Yeah.
Like, I need to go back, regroup, see my family, go to the clinic. And we'll see you soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, I think what I take from that is that, like, in these hard moments, I also need to be self-aware and aware of what I can provide to you. Because if we're asking you to show up at your best, I think we need to be showing up at our best.
That is such a key thing for professionals in the sports world, especially staff, to be able to have the self-awareness to say when you're not able to show up at your best. And there's been a challenge over my career to like find the proper timing to like seek new individuals within a team to work with, to make changes. It's so hard to make change when what you've been doing has been successful. And sometimes to know, like, to be more self-aware, to know when it's time to make that change.
Yeah.
And you are one of the few people who work with that I use as an example constantly, that was able to say, like, I do need a change now. I can't bring my best to you, and to be proactive about that. And you helped transition another physio into my team so that I was well taken care of and could start building that trust pattern immediately.
Yeah.
Which was huge.
Yeah. It's definitely I think a lot of us, I think you in particular, like, we're wired in sort of this grit mentality, and like, we're brought up sort of thinking like, I got to stick it out. I got to put in my work. Like, I'm not a quitter. But at some point, sometimes you're just ready for something new, or you need something new.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that comes down to, again, being self-aware. This word authentic gets used a lot, but like knowing who you are and sort of what you need to perform at your best. To get back to your original question, I think one of the big things I took away from last year, which I think was incredibly challenging in new ways, was just how hard uncertainty can be and how hard it can kind of be for different people. I have a vivid memory of Dr. Lyle basically saying, like, we are writing the textbook on this thing. And I think you can kind of take that one of two ways. You can either say, like, we're writing the textbook, like, we don't know. And that feels very out of control and potentially chaotic. And what are we going to do? Like, is the season over?
Yeah.
Or you can say, like, we get to write the textbook. Like, let's write the best textbook we possibly can.
Yeah.
And I think that was maybe easier for you and I to do because we were in it.
We were in it. Yeah.
And we had sort of, or at least like I had the tissue healing principles. I had sort of muscle healing principles. I was able to kind of wrap my head around it, but getting that information out was definitely challenging. I think that uncertainty can kind of lead to fear. Yeah. Everybody processes it differently.
Yep.
Everybody has sort of a different idea of like success in the rehab and different opinions. So I think I had to learn, and I think you did too, I'd be interested again in your thoughts, but sort of we had to learn what our definition of success was pretty much each week.
Yeah. Sometimes daily.
Daily. Yeah. And I think we had to be okay with our progress and kind of block out the outside opinions.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have days where I literally had people saying, like, you guys are moving too slow. And then in the next hour, somebody would say,
you're moving too fast.
Why are you going so fast?
Yeah.
And we had to be confident in you as the athlete. How did you show up today? How hard can we push you?
Yeah.
We know we're making you tired, but if we want to get to the end of the season, like, these are the give and takes that we're okay with.
Yeah.
As we work through that process.
Yeah. I'm just thinking back to last season and some of the conversations with Dr. Lyle and with others like specialists in muscle trauma around the country.
Yeah.
It was a lot. Like, we did a lot in that time frame. People just don't quite realize what injuries are. It doesn't,
Totally.
not just mine, just in general. Well, you talk about Federica Brignoni right now, Alex coming back from his injuries, Petra, like so many. And there's sort of your typical ACL injuries, and rehab is like 7 to 9 months. And that's kind of that, right? But then when you talk about a puncture wound through internal and external oblique,
And your TA.
and like nearly into the colon, what does that mean?
Yeah.
I certainly got caught up last year multiple times and needed you to kind of pull me back from the edge of like me thinking we have no idea what's going on, and then understanding we actually do know what's going on. It's not like it's a new body part that was created.
Right.
It's just not something we've seen specifically in ski racing to this point.
But we have the foundation and we have the principles to know, okay, the tissue healing timeline is likely going to take 8
this
weeks.
is what cells do.
The question mark is the fact that this is an outdoor sport and there are so many other variables like training surfaces and how much time you're going to need to actually prep to get to a competitive pace.
Yeah. Different
That's
forces
where-
in GS and SOLM. What's going to
Exactly.
feel better?
We know the muscle's not going to be completely strong again until the summer.
Yeah.
We know that.
Yeah.
So we need to also be smart on managing your volume so that we're not irritating a disc injury.
Yeah.
And sort of
Yeah.
weighing all of the different variables.
Yeah. Something that kind of stood out in my mind last year was in the spring camp in April, when my disc was kind of flared up, and we went and got some checks. The X-ray actually that showed like some sort of, correct me if I'm saying anything like off base, but kind of a new sort of curvature of my spine in the area where the oblique injury was.
Yeah.
And it was like, this is likely acute and likely due to like a weakness, a one-sided weakness.
Yeah. Basically, we could see, at least in the way that you were standing, granted it's a moment in time, but there was a bit of a shift. And we were thinking that potentially that oblique injury and sort of the tightness and the guarding surrounding it was likely pulling you into a slightly different alignment than you typically would be in.
Right. Which just goes to show how connected the body is.
Absolutely.
And how far beyond winning or losing you have to dive into to really achieve success.
Absolutely.
What's the point? This is the reason why I'm doing a podcast. You've heard this a couple times because you've heard me do it with a couple other people.
Yeah.
I am so intrigued by what the point is for other people to do what they do and to strive for success, to strive for improvement. For me, I don't totally know what the reasoning is behind my relentless search for a better turn.
Yeah.
I don't know why I care so much about skiing and racing, or why training days mean so much to me, you know?
Yeah.
So what drives you in your role day to day, and where does your motivation come from?
Yeah. That's such a good question. And I think it's something that's probably going to keep evolving over time. I think I've always had a curiosity for like, what more can we do?
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen me pack my bags. You've seen me fill cups of water. Like, I am at the limit most of the time. But jokes aside, I think it's like, what inefficiencies can we maybe address to just be a little bit better? What ways can we be a little bit more strategic so that we get more out of the day? I think for me, it's a curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I love helping people.
Mm.
I think it's helping people, or helping put people in an environment where they can start to feel their potential, not just see it, but like actually feel it, and like feel the energy that comes from something that really means a lot to them.
Yeah.
And then I think from
putting
there,
people in positions where they get to feel rewarded.
yeah. And I think obviously I'm thinking of through a clinical mindset, but like showing them their capability.
Yeah.
And showing them like, okay, you thought you could do this. Maybe you thought you could run a mile after all this, but like you're going to run 3.
Yeah.
And you're going to run 3 fast.
Yeah.
And sort of, I get so much energy when I see the people that I'm around working better, lighting up, feeling confident. And I think even with you, it's like the skiing is one thing, the PT is one thing, but helping you figure this out and become a leader of this team is almost the most meaningful thing to me.
So on the flip side of that, on what's something that happens on days that don't feel successful? Like I'm personally thinking about, you know, some of the toughest moments from last season, dealing with the rehab, when we maybe found that communication got harder because the stress levels got that high. Yeah. What is something, when you reflect on that, do you know what I'm getting at? Like what's a thing that makes it feel like it wasn't a successful day? Because in my mind, you're always communicating. You're always putting me in a position to be more effective. Yeah.
I think, especially recently, I feel like there's this notion that all these days are supposed to be perfect and joyful and you're supposed to be having fun. But that's not real. Yeah. Like you're going to have days that feel like that, but in order to get the days that feel like that, you also have to have the days where you need to grind and put in the work and the communication's not going to be perfect. Yeah. But those are the days where it's hard. You reflect on them, you figure out what kind of broke down, and then you fix your system and you build sort of a better system so that you do have days like this Solden race. Yeah. I don't know if that answers the question.
It does. Totally. Do you have any tips for how to reflect? And I'm thinking about your journal too.
This reflection thing's kind of new. I think since sort of being on the road, partially because I do spend time with you, but I don't have, like, if I have stuff that I'm sort of thinking about, I can't always bring that. Like, you're my friend. Yeah. But you're also the athlete who needs to perform. So I think I've started to sort of journal.
Trauma dumping on each other.
And think doesn't work. But one way that I think I've reflected throughout my career and throughout sort of relationships with people is the feeling that I get when I walk away from different experiences. And I think I do feel a lot of things. I've always been told I kind of wear my emotions on my sleeve. You tell me that I have subtitles on my face on a regular basis.
Oh, yes.
But when I walk away from a situation and I just feel like bouncy and energized and like my eyes are lit up, to me, that's like, okay, you're doing something right here. Like, let's do more of that. And let's do more of that even better. When I walk away from a situation where I'm not really happy with how it went, or I don't feel super confident, then it's like, okay, why? Yeah. And why does that mean something to me? And then what can I change to do it better next time? Yeah. But I think one thing that you actually asked in the beginning, like, what would you tell your younger self? I think when I started my career, sort of expected to be good at everything right away. I'm a very competitive person. Yeah. But I think the reality is like, it takes time. Yeah. And we're going to mess up sometimes and things aren't going to be perfect. Yeah. But if you're willing to kind of keep showing up when it's messy, you get 6 years into this and
reflecting when it's messy,
you realize you've learned a lot.
Yeah. It's one of the hardest things to do also for athletes. Yeah. And one of the things that you have particularly helped me with a lot is like diving into it when it is messy, because it's hard enough to admit to yourself when you haven't done a good enough job on the hill in a race. Yeah. That it's disappointing, and nobody wants to truly admit to you that it is disappointing, but as an athlete, you can see it on everyone's face.
Yeah.
And rather than running away from that, it's actually dive into that feeling of a disappointment. Yeah. It's good to feel disappointment about things, as long as you actually kind of create space to understand why.
Absolutely. I think A, it means you care, and B, it means you're stretching your comfort zone somewhere.
Yeah.
Like if you're successful at everything, you're really not learning or expanding kind of ways to think.
Yeah.
And I think these last couple seasons where we have had these unexpected injuries, like that's what's forced you to kind of be uncomfortable in these new scenarios, and you've gained so many skills from it.
It's forced a lot of self-reflection in me.
Yeah.
You know, it used to feel so simple. Like, I don't really fall. I mean, if I just focus on my standards of skiing, everything's going to be fine. Just don't worry about expectations, you know, things like that. Those were the lessons I've learned. And now it's like, when you're in a deep, dark place, wondering if you should even return to the sport, or like, how do you make light of a puncture wound?
Yeah.
Nearly to your colon. You say simple things like, "Oh, you tickled your cecum." That's what Regan does.
Yeah. And again, it's like, it's bringing that laughter in, and I think it's helping you to sort of
like process and grow.
Exactly.
Growth. Do you feel like discipline sparks passion, or does passion spark discipline?
That's so good.
Or could it be both?
I think it could be both. My gut instinct is to say that passion sparks the discipline. I think you have to have a vision, sort of that like North Star that people talk about, to kind of give you an idea of where you want to go. And then from there, you can kind of work backwards and create the discipline.
Yeah.
But I think if you have that vision and the discipline gets really boring and not interesting, no growth, no fun, no laughter, then you're not going to get to that passion
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I go back and forth sometimes. I feel like passion sparks discipline, but discipline unlocks further passion.
Yeah.
Like on the days where it's not fun.
Yeah.
And you have to remain disciplined, not because you feel motivated or you feel good, but because you know that you just got to get through this cloudy, crappy period.
Yeah.
And there's probably going to be a moment in a week or 2 weeks, or it might be 5 weeks.
Yeah.
It might be, I mean, last year, it was like, maybe by the time we get to Solden in the fall of 2025, we might have had a couple good days again.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, this is going to take half a year to get to the point where it's feeling like a little bit more effortlessly fun again.
Yeah.
And so during that period of time, yes, there's definitely good moments throughout it, but it takes discipline to sort of achieve a new level of passion.
Absolutely. And I think somebody can fact check this, but I think that action, we know that when you are taking the action, that feeds the brain to get excited about more action.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I think what you just said about knowing that it might take half a year, but trusting your process, I think that's what's also made you so successful. I'm like, all right, I know this is a hard period.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's a hard period, but I'm going to keep showing up.
Yep. Totally.
And that's what's made you so successful.
Oh, thanks. So then looking at this kind of bigger picture, there's a question of legacy. I've been asked a lot about it, and I don't know how to talk about legacy, really. I still struggle with that. What does legacy mean to you? And I guess, how do you think about the impact that you want to leave behind wherever you've been, in sport, professionally, in life?
Yeah. I think kind of what I just said. I think simply it's how I want to show up, and how I want to show up now, how I want to show up 10 years from now. I think in reflecting, one of the things I've thought about a bit is what compliments I'm like really proud of, which is kind of hard for me because I usually turn bright red and dissociate from compliments. But I mean, I think I've been told like you're the glue, or sort of you're the rock within a group, or like your energy like lights up the clinic. And like those are the things that I'm like, yeah, like that's awesome. Like that's what I want to bring. If I enter a new team or a new group, like that's what I have to give.
Yeah.
So kind of capitalizing on whatever compliments really make you feel good.
Yeah.
And then also looking at role models. And I actually had a mentor just last week. I was saying how impressed I was with somebody at the COE. And she was like, well, what about that person is it? So that kind of got me thinking about my parents. Like, I would love to have the conscientiousness and the skills that my dad has, and like the charisma that my mom has. And some of my professional mentors are just so skilled and intentional and clear in how they explain things. And I kind of pull those little bits from all these people that I think are awesome.
Yeah.
And if I can kind of blend that into something that I'm proud of, I think that's the legacy that I would love to leave behind.
I'm gonna cry. That's really cool.
So I don't know. I think of like, when I think of your legacy, it's the precision, it's the willingness to show up, it's the willingness to learn and communicate with your team. It's your humor, your kindness, kind of this ability to be ambitious, but also like the most caring, supportive human.
It's a really cool way to think about it. Like the perspective of what compliments actually light you up.
Yeah.
And it is hard to think about compliments about yourself.
What compliment are you most proud of?
I think there is like when people say, oh, you're actually so kind.
Yeah.
Like they're surprised, which maybe comes from, just a general idea that in order to be successful in something or to have a public persona at all, you kind of have to be ruthless.
Yep.
But that's not really the case.
Yeah.
When we talk about legacy, or when I'm asked about legacy, I guess I'm trying to shift my mindset, because it's so much, it brings up this triggered feeling like I'm not doing enough. When people ask what I want my legacy to be, the first time I was asked about it, I was 17 years old. What do you want your legacy to be in this sport?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm 17. Like I'm literally just getting started.
Yeah.
I only just won my first World Cup race,
Yeah. And I think that's a fair answer to say, like,
it's just like that makes me feel like I'm not doing enough, and I'm only doing as much as I could possibly do.
Right.
But when I hear you talk about it, it's a perspective that makes me feel like it's opportunity, it's excitement, it's passion.
Yeah.
Those are things I relate to.
Kind of just showing up the best you can in the proudest way you can.
Yeah.
In whatever circumstance is around you.
Yeah.
And I think that can change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Evolves.
It evolves.
We grow.
We get old.
We get old. And then we grow again. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we get older.
It's a process.
It sure is.
And we certainly don't have it all figured out. But we're trying.
We're trying. Thank you so much for
it's so
doing
fun.
this.
It's fun to talk about this not on the table.
I
actually
know.
sitting
Normally
and
we're
clean.
talking about these things doing treatment or during strength sessions, and we're like, oh, this is such a cool concept. Like, that would be great for the podcast. So now we're talking about it.
Yeah.
If there's a part 2, we'll do a part 2.
Send your questions.
Send your questions.
We like to learn.
You've now heard Regan speak, so ask all the questions possible. It's a very insightful conversation for me, for sure. Great. So I don't know how to close this out. Should we go treat now?
Yeah.
Right. Bye, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.